So, before I get started, it is very important to know that this is going to sound raw. Normally, I like to script what I'm going to say or an overview of what I'm going to say, but because this is documenting my journey, and I really want to get my raw feelings into how I feel in some of these moments, I am not going to plan. I am going to just say things as I feel them at this particular moment, because I think that is how you will get the most value, because you will be in these similar situations. And it's one thing to know things, but it's another thing to handle them emotionally. One of the things that I am focusing on heavily at this moment is communication. And my goal as a coach is to get my players to such a point that they can lead themselves without me being there. I do not want to coach players who depend on me. The only reason I coach is to develop leadership in my players. It is so important to me as a coach that when I am no longer with them, they can say that I got these tangible traits, these tangible values that I can apply, whether I become a pro, whether I continue to play soccer or not. In today's training, what I emphasized was communication. Communication is one of three of our values, and it has been the most difficult thing to implement, especially with kids 8 to 9 years old. Normally, as coaches, what we do is we tell players, hey, you need to communicate. In this situation, you communicate like this. When your player does this, instead of doing this, tell them to do that. So what we do is we teach players how to communicate only when they know the exact situation that we tell them to communicate something. So when something happens and it's not according to plan, they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to solve problems. They stay quiet. And that is one of the things that I have learned recently is you have to think about this. Whenever you tell your players something, whenever you teach them a concept or you teach them positioning, and then they're doing that drill, or they're in a game and they're trying to apply what you taught them in the game, you have to understand that everything that they communicate, most likely you tell them, in this situation, you need to tell this player to do that. In this situation, you need to tell this player to do that. If this doesn't happen, you do that. But what happens when you get some type of issue that you've never discussed before? What are your players going to do? Because in life, these players are going to come up in situations that were not planned for, that they were not taught, and they will not know how to communicate. So what I intend to do and what I'm going to show you is how your players can learn to communicate when they don't know what the hell is happening around them. And you don't even have to be there. They won't know what's happening around them, and it won't matter. They'll still know how to communicate. So I'm going to tell you about a drill that I did today. It was a passing drill that we've done before, but normally in such passing drills, I tell them exactly where to position. I tell them exactly where to play. And then after a minute or less, they know exactly what I am talking about. But in this circumstance, I set up a passing drill of 5 cones that we've done a number of times. And what I did this time is I set it up. I set it up before they even showed up. And I said, do the drill. That's it. I didn't say anything else. I said, do the drill. And then I left them to themselves to organize themselves among each other. And it got rowdy. Players initially disagreeing, not knowing what to do. It got rowdy. It took a long time to start. And once I felt that they got the hang of just the positioning, not even the drill itself, but the positioning of where to stand according to the drill, then they had to actually do the drill with the ball, the sequence. And it was rowdy. It was rowdy. And it got to a point that I was beginning to worry how it looked to the parents. And the parents were maybe 10, 15 feet away. And I was worried. I'm not going to lie. I was worried because it was rowdy. And from a parent's point of view, it would look like we were wasting 10 minutes of time, 15 minutes of time trying to figure out what to do. Because what most coaches do is they say, hey, move, be here, be here, be here, be here, be here, move the ball like this, done. And as they do the drill, I correct them as they do it. But what I did is I let them do the whole thing by myself and by themselves, and I kept completely silent, didn't say a word. All I told them is, whenever you complete a correct sequence, I will count the points. Their job is to do 6 sequences of high intensity. But I did not tell them what went wrong. I didn't tell them what they did good, what they did bad. They had to figure out by themselves. So there were times where they did a sequence and they thought it was good, and I just said wrong, or I didn't count a point. And they didn't know why, but they had to communicate with each other to find out what was wrong. And they didn't always know what the problem was, but with time they figured it out. But I'm telling you, I was getting worried because from a parent, it could look like 10, 15 minutes of wasting time, players communicating, not knowing what's going on, the drill not looking as clean as it should be because players are not exactly sure of themselves. But I am so confident in this because what I know, what I see is that in 5 years of doing this, 2 years of doing this, maybe 5 years, I like to say 5 years, my players will get to a point where they know how to conduct themselves when things are disorderly. It doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter what state of condition I am in as a coach. They will rely on themselves. And this is what I am teaching, because in the future, these are the lessons that will help them to be more efficient. What you don't realize is that every time you are telling your players exactly what to do, you will be doing the same thing as long as you are coaching them, as long as you are continuing to doing this tactic, because every time something is not right, they will look to you. And you will slow down everything because they cannot make a move without you when they are unsure of what to do. But coaching in this manner, when it is rowdy, when you leave them to their own devices to settle the issue, they will become so competent at this skill and how to communicate with each other. They will learn subtleties that I am not even aware of because I've never been put in this situation. They will learn things that I don't even have any idea about. And in 5 to 10 years, they will be able to do things like that. I won't have the answers to things. Maybe I do and I'm not there, but they will know exactly what to do. They will know how to handle problems, whether I give them the solution or not. And that is my ultimate goal. So although it is scary, although I worry, parents are going to come at me and complain because this is very, very unconventional. But for me, I am so confident in what I am doing because I am looking long term. I am looking 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line. And I know that this is good for the kids. I know that the kids love this. But more importantly than the kids loving this, I know it is best for them. So although I do have worry, I am confident. And I did not shake. I did not help them. And this is very, very important. And this is a feeling that you will have when you initially do this.